Howdy, y'all. On today's exciting episode of Cars Talk, we're gonna be going to Cars Land. Woohoo! Follow me. Welcome to Cars Land. My name's Mater, and I'm gonna be giving you a tour of my hometown of Radiator Springs on Route 66. Let's jump right in and drive down the street. The first shop on the right is Fillmore's Tasting. My buddy Fillmore runs this shop. He sells his finest organic fuel, but for some reason, a lot of cars don't like to try it out. Don't tell him I said that though. In here you can see some of the organic fuels that he sells. There's lots of different snacks you can get in here. But you better not go inside because Fillmore doesn't want to be disturbed. While we drive away from Fillmore's, we come to my very own junkyard jamboree at Mater's Towing and Salvage. You're always welcome in my junkyard, but I do prefer it when my place is running. Up next on the right is Sarge's Surplus Hut. He's the next door neighbor to my buddy Fillmore, and Sarge doesn't like Fillmore's music. Inside Sarge's Surplus, you can find a surplus of just about anything. Let's take a look inside of Sarge's. Here you can see some of them Hudson Hornet piston cups, named after our very own Doc Hudson. And over here you can get a little taste of the Precision Series collection. And over here, there's tons of other merchandise like mugs and picture frames and hats. You know, I like hats. I have a lot of hats. I bought a lot of my hats from this store. That's where I get them. Sarge has tons of nice merchandise all over the shelves. And here's a model of our very own town. You can see all of my friends' houses and all their businesses too. And all the shops are lighting up. You can see the Cozy Cone Motel and Lizzie's Curios and Luigi's Casa della Tires and Flo's V8 Cafe, and well, there's a whole sorts of other ones, but we'll get to those later on our tour. Right now, here's a big establishing shot of the entire town all put together. And here's some of the other cars that they sell in the store. This place really does feel just like you're in the military. My buddy Sarge was in the military after all. And up ahead, we coming up on the Cozy Cone Motel and Doc's Clinic. I guess we're gonna look at the Cozy Cone Motel first, because my friend Sally lives here. Miss Sally, she runs the Cozy Cone Motel all the time, and she was partly responsible for getting the Wheelwell Motel reopened as well. She just loves motels, doesn't she? Hey, and check it out, there's my best friend Lightning McQueen getting pictures with people.
Hey, Mater. Are you taking some friends on a tour?
That I am, buddy. Here at the Cozy Cone Motel, they offer tons of souvenirs from their Lincoln Continental breakfast. You've got the churros and the ice cream cones. Anything cones you want, it's here. Ooh, popcorn. I'd like some of that. Well, see you later, Lightning. I'll come back later to talk with you once I'm done with the tour. And there's the Here It Is sign. That's famous here on Route 66. Now here's Lizzie's Curio Shop, the front of it. You can see all of her memorabilia on the front of the store. She's got some old gas pumps and some Route 66 signs and service signs. All kinds of signs and souvenirs. That's what this store sells. You've got your t-shirts and your pins and your hats. More hats. I got some of my other hats from this store. Tons of other Radiator Springs memorabilia. Over here's where they do the pin trading. It's pretty popular with these collectors. People come in all the time just to see what new pins they got. And here's a reference to my friend Doc Hudson. And there's the pin trading sign with Stanley, our town's founder. He set up the pin trading in this town. And here we are at the corner of Cross Street and Main Street of Radiator Springs. Up ahead is Radiator Springs Racers. But not until you get through the intersection. First, you gotta go over to my friend Luigi's. Luigi's Casa della Tires is home of the Leaning Tower of Tires. Luigi sells all kinds of tires, black walls and white walls, and tons of other fancy monster truck tires. But you know, he always has his cousins around to come visit him from Carsoli, Italy. It's one of his favorite things to do when he's not busy selling tires. Or looking at Ferraris. There's all his posters, by the way. And here are all the tires displayed along the wall. I just can't choose which one I'd like. I think I just gotta stick with the ones I've got, because the ones I got are pretty good. As we drive into the next room, Luigi has tons of famous merchandise that he's acquired. Signatures and souvenirs. Out here is where he has his patio, but he has his little office right there. So that's my friend Luigi's shop. And there's his sale sign. Famous for always knocking down his tires. Now we're gonna head over to Ramon's House of Body Art. I don't drive around these here parts too often, because my paint is just in too pristine condition to get replaced. But Ramon sells tons of other things, like more shirts and some Motorama Girls merchandise. We'll get to that a little later. And he sells tons of artwork of my friends on Route 66. Here's one little corner of his shop. You can see a lot of the merchandise. He has some signs, all kind of artsy stuff that I don't get. And here's the courthouse. There's our very founder, Stanley. He founded Radiator Springs all the way back in 1909. And here's our famous Radiator Springs, a happy place mural with some of Red's flowers around it. Radiator Springs sure is a happy place, that's for sure. If it wasn't, then all these people wouldn't be hanging out around here. Before we go, we gotta check out a couple places that we missed. Those are Flo's V8 Cafe and Doc's Clinic. I want to show you them in proper detail. So as we drive over to Flo's, you might be getting a little thirsty, and that's why we're driving to Flo's, because you can get something to eat or drink, whatever you need. Flo's has it. She serves the finest fuel on Route 66, some of her Texas tea that she always has in store. Flo moved to this here town in the 1950s, back when she was a Motorama show car. I remember when she came here to town and she met Ramon and they fell in love, and that's why she stayed. But she always kept a little bit of her past. Inside of her restaurant you can see tons of Motorama Girls merchandise and references. All the booths look like old 50s car seats. That's pretty cool, and she has records on the wall of her Motorama Girls albums. And here's a giant mural of her and her friends Laverne, Rhonda, and Sheila. Together they made up the Motorama Girls. And here's some of the records on the wall. Now let's drive over to the other side of the store. As we drive into this room, we get a little bit more mechanical. As you can see, there's an eye chart, tons of different things that we have on the walls of doctor's equipment and mechanical things. That's because we are in Doc's clinic. And over here is the Racing Museum. This is where Doc stores all of his old 50s magazines and newspapers and all kinds of little advertisements for when he was the fabulous Hudson Hornet back in 1951. And here's where he has his free piston cups from 1951, 52, and 53 displayed. Now let's drive outside these doors so you can get a good look at the outside of Doc's clinic. It's a pretty nice place to be, just like the rest of this town. And down behind Doc's clinic, you can see the bathrooms. They're right there with Doc's garage, and we better not go inside because Doc will be really angry. He usually has some stay out signs on the doors. I don't know what happened to them. That's Radiator Springs in its completion. So now we're here at night to take a look at all the pretty neon lights. Since Radiator Springs is so old, a lot of the old buildings have the old neon lights from the 1950s on them. See, Fillmore in his geodesic dome has tons of bright colored lights, but he also has lights illuminating his sign, or else nobody would ever know where to go. And over here at my place, it might look a little dark, but I got tons of little light bulbs and things illuminating my place. Up ahead, Sarge's surplus hut, you can see the sign does just what it always has. It shoots a little missile out and illuminates the sign. That's a really cool design, isn't it? I really like that. Let's keep driving down the road and see what other lights there are. Over at the Cozy Cone Motel, That sign'll sure to get your attention, because see all the little Z's going up? As it gets towards the nighttime, you might want to head over to the Cozy Cone if you need a place to stay. Miss Sally would love to have you, but it looks like right now there's no vacancy, so you might want to come back later. Looks like Doc has his place lit up. Maybe he's got a doctor's appointment going on. Pretty late for that, though. Down here at Flo's, all the spark plugs are firing just as they should in the correct order, I think. Across the street at Lizzie's, she's got her old 1900s light bulbs illuminating the store that says Radiator Springs Curios. There's Luigi's Casa del Tire. Now, in the nighttime, you can see that it all is lit up with Italian flag colors. At least that's what Luigi told me. I don't know. And over here at Ramon's, you can see the kind of greenish bluish color light bulbs in the neon. And the oil pan and the Lubarama are looking nice too. But I don't know what happened to the rest of the stores down here. I don't see them. But there's Mr. Curb Feeler and Sparky Spark Plugs. So at least a few of the shops are still in business. Here's the Stanley statue. Don't it just look so nice with all them fancy lights that we put in recently? I really like it. And the courthouse also looks very nice at night. Of course, we gotta have the mural illuminated because it's such a true statement. And these flowers, they light up too. At least some of them. And down there you can see Radiator Springs races. I'm sure you can find another video to get more information on that ride, but that is a fun place to go. I like it. I'm practically there all the time. So that's gonna conclude our tour of Cars Land, or Radiator Springs as I should say. This town is so nice in the daytime or nighttime or anytime. Just come by whenever you need a tow or whenever you need something from the town or whenever you're traveling down Route 66. That works too. So that's going to conclude the tour. I want to thank you all for joining me, Mater, on this fancy tour of Radiator Springs. I hope you really liked it, and we'll see you next time.
Don't go just yet. I know you want to click off this video, but you don't know what you want. Luigi know what you want. Clicking off, just what everybody can do. But clicking on another video on your screen? Look at you! There you are! A real fan! What did Luigi tell you, right? Guido?
Sottoscrive. Ciao!